What up, what up, what up, what up, what up, what up? Here we go, here we go. We are back again for another weekly book review. This week it is The Art of Public Speaking by the man, the myth, the legend, the Mr. Dale Carnegie. We all know him as the guy that wrote that famous book, How to Win Friends and Influence People. Well, believe it or not, he has written another book, and it's The Art of Public Speaking. In my opinion, a more valuable read because of how necessary public speaking is, especially during these times. And it's something that every single person you meet, every last person that you meet is going to tell you about some type of fear. They're going to use public speaking as something that they had to get over. Maybe I'm exaggerating when it comes to every single person, but a huge percentage of the people that you speak to are going to talk to you about this fear that they have of public speaking, and this thing that public speaking is almost like some kind of monster, some kind of plague, some kind of pandemic when it comes to actually public speaking. And he debunks all of those myths. And the reason I like this book a lot better, like I would probably recommend this book first before I recommend How to Win Friends and Influence People, because of how necessary it is in today's culture, man. It is so incredibly important that we develop our ability to publicly speak to people, because everything is so out in the open these days. I know you guys are probably tired of hearing me say it, but nothing's a secret. In this world, we have these social media channels nowadays in which what happens is we've given people an effective place to hide. We've given people this opportunity to just quote unquote ghost someone. We've given people an opportunity to hide, to go to a private, or just to block someone and just run away from things. And that is not healthy. It's not a good thing to block a person who is trying to work with you or trying to establish a connection. And next thing you know, 10, 15 years down the line, that person is doing some big things, and all it took was you responding to a message, but instead you hid and you ducked and hide, and next thing you know, you have to live with that anxiety for the rest of your life, because you never know what that connection could have brought you. And I'm telling you, this book really teaches people how to communicate, and it does it in such a way that relates to you, as you would expect from a Dale Carnegie book. I'll give you an example. Just this past Friday, and for those of you who don't know, I'm a teacher at a small school named KinderCare, basically a daycare. And bottom line is, I'm around kids all day now. And it just so happened the other day, this past Friday, I was going over some math problems with this young kid, man. He's maybe about 5 years old, and one of the shyest young men you'll ever meet. He kind of has a stuttering problem. I see a lot of my younger self in him. I really do. My 5-year-old self, just stumbling over his words, just really quiet, just stays to himself. But you could tell that there's a side to him that really knows how to get out. Really great kid. He's a pleasure to be around. Anyway, I was going over math problems with him, and the thing about these math problems, and it happens with all the kids, but he's one of them that when he doesn't know the answer, he cries. The first time I gave him math problems, the poor boy he's sitting there for maybe 2 or 3 minutes. He doesn't know the answer, and the boy's tears are coming down his eyes. He's like, I don't know it. Like, it's one of those things where it's like, oh man. So this past Friday, I gave him some math problems, and I went over all of the math problems with him. And just to give you guys a little bit of context, on the sheet of paper, it has numbers 1 through 10, and then it has the math problems. And in this instance, it was all subtraction. So I'm going over all the math problems, and he doesn't know. Subtraction is a little difficult for him. So I knew it was going to be difficult for him, but I wanted to at least teach him how to do it. So one of the problems was 7 take away 3. So what I would do is I would point to the 7, and I would have him tell me what the number is. And he'd say 7, 7, 7. And then I was like, no, what's the number? And he screams 7. I wanted him to get that voice. And then we go up to the 7. I count back from 7. I go 1, 2, 3, and I land obviously on the 4. And I tell him, what number is that? 4. And I make sure he says it boldly and speaks it boldly. He says 4, right? And I ask him, what's 7 minus 3 now? 4. And he says it boldly. It's that confidence. It's that making sure you know the answer. Now, is he going to grow up to be a math whiz? I don't know. Maybe, maybe not. If he's anything like me, then he won't. But at the end of the day, just that lesson in himself and just teaching him how to speak boldly when you know something's the right answer, and the tone that you say it is really going to be a way of finding your place in this world. And that's really the joy I have every single day. Those are really the great things that I get to do every day, and I'm blessed to be a part of it. In fact, all right, geez, I got long-winded on you, but back to the book. Here's some things he talks about in the book. I wrote it, I have it highlighted as always. Page one, literally the first sentence. He says, attitude towards the subject is the first source of its power. Attitude towards your subject. So if I'm speaking on teamwork, if I'm speaking on football, if I'm speaking on sports marketing, if I'm speaking on just entrepreneurship in general, you're going to hear passion in my voice. Now, if I'm speaking about something I don't give a shit about, I'm just going to, I'm going to go back to that shy kid. So everybody has an attitude towards a certain subject. Every single person. Right, there's another line that really caught my attention. I know I'll probably keep it, like these are going to be released as podcasts as well. Yes, this one, page 3. Another one, third paragraph. He says, a book may give you excellent suggestions on how to best conduct yourselves in the water, but sooner or later, you must get wet. Woo! Come on, listen to me. That one was very important. Book may give you excellent suggestions on how to best conduct yourself in the water, but sooner or later, you have to get wet. All of this shit, listen, all of this social media, all of the books and all of the stuff, all the content that we have access to these days. Yes, blogs, whatever it is, all the things that we have access to these days, videos, whatever. They're going to give you some great suggestions on how you can navigate yourself through the waters of this world. But at some point, you got to jump in the water and get wet. At some point, you got to jump in and get wet and start to figure out ways to swim. All right, the reason people love Stephen A. Smith so much is because of his ability to really be passionate and speak impromptu. Like there's nothing scripted. Whether it's him or whether it's Max Kellerman talking, it's like you're drawn to him because you can feel the passion. You can feel everything he's talking about. All right, public speaking is so necessary. So again, I'll give you this last line. Because I thought it was very important, especially as it relates to the story that I told you guys at the beginning about our education system, because this is a subject that our education system, in my opinion, again, is something that they've dropped the ball on. But in page 114, Dale Carnegie makes a very valid point that I really want you guys to take in. He says, so long as the present system of education prevails and children are taught through the air, like the air, rather than through the eye, as long as they are expected to remember thoughts of others rather than think for themselves, this proportion will continue. This proportion will continue. Listen, straight up. All of us at some point were kids, much like the kid I just mentioned. All of us were kids at some point, and we grew up as adults because of the thoughts of others. We have our ideologies, the way we make our decisions, especially our subconscious decisions. All the things we do were molded by some kind of adult that taught us how to do things and that we saw. So my question, and I'll leave you with this, I'll close on this. What are you showing people? What are you showing to me? So if you're this person who's sitting back in your wherever you do, and you're, oh, I'm not going to public speak, I don't want to talk to anybody, or I don't like that person, or if you're judging people, if you're one of those people that like to do that troll the internet and do all this bullshit and have so much shit to say about somebody else's situation, but you never bring anything to the table yourselves. God, those kind of people make me sick. You know, they have so much bullshit to say about someone else, but they have nothing to bring to the table themselves. All they are is a bunch of woof. If you're one of those people, understand you are doing a disservice and you are wasting your time in this world. However, for my other folks, to the folks that listen to these book reviews, to the folks that, you know, would benefit and read books like this and are trying to carve out a lane to make sure that they are leaving the world in a better place, highly recommend that you if you haven't already, get a copy of something that Dale Carnegie writes. But if I had to pick one book that you got to get from Dale Carnegie, it's The Art of Public Speaking, and apply it to whatever your passions are. Apply it to whatever it is you're really seeking. All right. All that being said, listen, I appreciate all the support I've been getting. I told you it's going to be a great summer. I'm busy now. I got table setups, got speaking. I even hired a speaking coach. Shout out Rennie, man. We got some big things going on, man. I am so pumped for what's coming ahead. I appreciate everyone that's getting the book. Please keep the pre-orders coming. The Make Your Move Youth Center is so close, guys. It took a huge step especially this past week, and I got a chance to meet some incredible people at the Network Lead Exchange. And the Make Your Move Youth, I'll just leave it at this. The Make Your Move Youth Center took a very, very big step in the right direction. And I'll just leave it at that. All right. Other you guys, man, continue to move swiftly. We will talk more soon.